أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم وآله وصحبه أجمعين. My dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum. We'll continue our juz by juz discussion for this Ramadan, the jewels and pearls of the Quran we are sharing, going over some of the key ayahs and their messages, how they apply to us. Yesterday we discussed Surah Al Imran, which is Madani Surah, and then we discussed uh, many important lessons, including how Prophet Isa alayhi salam was brought to the nation of Bani Israel to confirm the Torah and Injil and to remind them the original message which they had forgotten or changed. However, he had hardships. He was given miracles. Some of the people followed him, called Ansar, but most of them rejected him. But Allah saved him, raised him with the promise that he'll return, inshallah. Surah Al Imran continues further, especially the Juz start is, and I'm going to share the slides. Surah Al Imran. Um, so we start from ayah 92, where Allah says, لن تنالوا البر حتى تنفقوا مما تحبون وما تنفقوا من شيء فإن الله به عليم. You will not attain piety. Al-Bir we talked about in Surah Baqarah too, and these two surah are related. You will not attain piety or virtuous conduct until you give what you love, what you cherish. And this is important, especially in this surah, that it comes early because a surah, as we'll see, talks about a battle of Uhud and how much the Muslims uh, were put on a test to even give uh, what we love the most, our lives, in the way of God. But in general, this statement applies to us that we we have blessings from Allah, and out of the things we love, we should give in charity. Allah continues the surah with the mention of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam again, and said that Ibrahim alayhi salam was a Hanif, he was a monotheist, and this was what Prophet was sharing to the people of Book in Medina when he, just like Prophet Isa alayhi salam came to confirm Torah and Injil, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to confirm the religion of Ibrahim, Millata Ibrahim, we call it. So this, what Prophet was trying to say, that we need to renew our deen the way Ibrahim brought. And Allah continues, Inna awwala bayta wudi'a linnasi lallazi bi Bakkata mubarakan wa hudan lil alamin. The first house established for the mankind is one at Bakka, blessed, and the guidance for all people. And Prophet was telling them, because the previous name of Makkah was Bakka, and that's how it was written in the scriptures of people of the book, that this is mentioned in your books too. Um, However, there was disagreement as they kind of reverted that that was Bakka, a different city, not Makkah, where you came from. And we talked about that yesterday too, that how uh, this created some tensions between Prophet ﷺ and the people of the book of living in Medina. Allah talks about again the Hajj Baitullah, that it was prescribed, similar to what we discussed in Surah Al-Baqarah. Uh, the important ayah comes here, which we recite every Jummah in our khutbah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. You must have heard this repeatedly in our khutbahs, Jummah khutbahs. Every Imam starts his khutbah with some Arabic with the ayat of Quran, and this is one of them. O you who believe, fear Allah Wattakullah. Hakka tukate, the way it should be done with due reverence. Wala tamutunna illa wa antum muslimun, and do not die except as Muslims. This is important, and we should pray that Allah gives us gives this life in submission and our death in a state of submission too. Ameen. The next ayah is also important, that for the Muslims, uh, especially in this era when there are many sects made, and uh, Muslims have disagreement on various things, and this was predicted by Prophet ﷺ in a hadith as well, that just like people of scriptures, Muslims will also split up into sects. Um, However, as you can see, this is again an emphasis by Allah in Quran too. وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. Hold fast to the rope of God all together and don't become divided. Because if we divide, then the disbelievers would take over, and Allah is trying to mention that, especially when in Medina, Prophet ﷺ was facing uh, some people who were munafiq, who were hypocrites, who were saying that we are Muslims, but they were not inside. And there were other disagreement too, with some of the doubters about the Battle of Uhud. So these ayat are coming to prepare Prophet ﷺ and Sahaba, that how to approach in you know approach the battle. But in general, this is a message for rest of the Muslims, for rest of the uh, time till uh, end of the times. And we should hold to Quran, and this will bind us and bring the community together. You see, no, we have many differences. However, when it comes to Quran, everybody has full belief in Muslim community that this is the word of Allah, and then that's how it is. This Quran is so important to learn and comprehend, because this is the only thing which can bring us together again. Um, so this is very much emphasized in this ayah. And then what else is important? Tamirun of Maruf, to say in Yamiruna bil Maruf wa yanhuna anil munkar, to say the right thing, to advocate the righteousness, and ask people to stay away from evil. And this is very important, because this is the next step after learning Quran, that not only you apply it to yourself, but encourage other people to join the righteousness too. And you know, if we do this, then Allah says, "Kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat lin-nas ta'muruna bil ma'ruf wa tanhuna 'anil munkar wa tu'minuna billah." If we do this, then you are the best community that ever emerged for humanity. So this is the level, the daraja Allah gave to Muslims, but we have to stick to Quran, you know, and then follow those lessons and guidance on ourselves, and advocate moral values and forbid immorality, believe in God, and then we are the best community for the humanity again, uh, for the service of humanity. This is the emphasis there. Um, there are various other ayats, but the main rest of the surah is talking about um, Battle of Uhud. And as you know, that Battle of Uhud, just like Battle of Badr, Prophet had to face a large army from Makkah, um, who joined with many tribes. They wanted to take the revenge of their losses from Badr. Even they brought their women, so they don't run away from the battlefield, because it will look like, so it will they will look down upon so low if they do that. So again, this was a large army that Prophet had Sallallahu had to face. And then that's what Allah mentions in the rest of the many ayahs from 121 till 170 or so. Uh, Prophet, uh, when this Battle of Badr was happening, many of the Sahaba they had fear in their heart. But again, Prophet Sallallahu reminds again Allah reminds through Prophet that how Allah is going to help them as He helped uh, in Badr, and He mentions that He will support them with angels. So as just in like in Battle of Badr, angels came. Allah says, "Istaqulu lil mu'minina alan yakfiyakum an yumiddakum rabbakum bisalasati alafin min al malaikati munzalin." When you say to the believer, "Is it not enough for you that your Lord has reinforced you with 3,000 angels sent down?" So again, these ayat came after, of course, Uhud was over, and these ayat recollect what happened during that time. So Allah uh, uh, tells that you were trying to encourage the Sahaba to continue to go towards the battleground and don't fear. Uh, and again, this is what happened. Uh, the troops, Muhajir, Ansar, and also many of the hypocrites, they joined the Prophet to go to the battlefield, and Prophet was continued saying that "Wala tahinu wala tahzinu wa antumul a'launa in kuntum mu'minin." Do not be waver, don't feel remorse. You are the superior ones if you are believers. So again, this um, this battle, as we know, um continued with much success initially. That that Muslims got in the so again, all of these ayahs describe this Muslim God initially. However, then there were some losses which happened for a couple of reasons. One, the Prophet had appointed some Sahaba on a mountain of Uhud, so they can keep an eye so they are not attacked from behind. And as there were initial successes happening, many of them, the people who were on the mountain, they came down again. It was to celebrate the success which they were seeing on the ground, and to also collect the booty, the Mali Ghanima, because again, this was their desire in their heart. So, but this caused quite a bit distress because then Khalid bin Walid and his forces attacked from behind, and Muslims had many loss of Sahaba. Even Prophet ﷺ was he got hit um, and almost died. He passed away, which Allah describes here as well. It's this تُسْعِدُونَ وَلَا تَلْوُونَ عَلَى أَحَدٍ وَرَسُولُ يَدْعُوكُمْ فِي أُخْرَاكُمْ. Remember when you fled, not caring for anyone, even though the messenger was calling you from your rear. Then you repaid you with then he Allah repaid you with sorrow upon sorrow. So again, this mishap happened, which Allah records in the Quran as well. However, Allah also says that some of the people of the um, the of group which is, as I mentioned, hypocrites. They were calling themselves Muslims. They were trying to show support, but then they returned, and Allah mentions that as well. Those of you who returned back on the day when the two armies clashed, it was Shaitan who caused them to backslide, and of course, on account of some of what they have earned. So in Ladina, تولوا منكم يوم التقى الجمعان إنما استزلهم الشيطان. So this was Shaitan's again, they were following when they returned and left the Muslims, um, uh, um, you know, without the support they were going to provide. But Allah supported them, even those, despite those mishaps, Muslims returned, and then they were successful in the end. So they, that's how the battle unfolded. Allah support. Allah says, "In yansurkumullahu fala ghaliba lakum, wa in يخذلكم فمن ذا الذي ينصركم من بعده وعلى الله فليتوكل المؤمنون." If God supports you, there is none who can overcome you. And that's what happened in Battle of Uhud. But if he fails you, who is there to help you after him? In Allah, let the believers put their trust. So this was a lesson, which the Muslim Sahaba, they learned through the battle, that how a small, um, um, very small disobedience can lead to a great harm, and that's what happened. Um, Allah says about Prophet again, that the importance of the Prophet in this time, that Allah has blessed a believer, that Prophet was amongst them, that they had success. Uh, فيهم رسول من أنفسهم يتلو عليهم آياته ويزكيهم ويعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة وإن كانوا من قبل لفي ضلال مبين. This is a similar ayah, exactly almost similar ayah came in Baqarah too, that this is a prophet who recites to them the revelation, purifies them, yuzakihim, and teaches them scripture and wisdom. And then, all these events, Prophet guided the Sahaba. So this is emphasized here too. Um, there was again, Allah refers back to the hypocrites when the people came back from the Ghazwa, the battle back to Medina. Look how these hypocrites, when they learned that there was a loss of life, um, they said to the Muslims coming back from the battle, these hypocrites said, "Allazina qalu li ikhwanihim wa qa'adu law ata'una ma qutilu. Qul fadra'u an anfusikumul mauta in kuntum salikin." They said, those who stayed, of their brethren as they stayed behind, that if you also had returned or stayed behind in the Makkah and didn't go to the battle, you would not have been killed. So they were kind of making, uh, you know, fun, or considering the other people fool who went for the battle, and look, now they are killed. They should have been smarter and stayed here or returned. So this kind of statement, you know they made. Allah says, "Wala tahsabanna allazina qutilu fi sabilillahi amwat bal ahya'un inda rabbihim yarzaqun." And this is a famous ayah. We know that Allah said, "Do not consider those who kill in the way of Allah as dead. In fact, they are alive and with their Lord well provided for." So their risk is continuing. Allah didn't give them death. They are shaheed. They are alive and they are straight in heaven. So this was a reply to those hypocrites. But this didn't come without trial, and trial of Sahaba. And then, this is what Allah mentioned here too, that you will be tried in the wealth, and it's not gonna be easy. Ayah 186, لَتُبْلُوَنَّ فِي أَمْوَالِكُمْ وَأَنفُسِكُمْ. You'll be tested through your possessions and your persons. So without that, the success doesn't come. So this Ramadan month we have, again, it teaches us this patience with fasting, with staying away even from the halal things, the food we eat. Um, and then this vigorous exercise then makes us face calamities with patience. So Allah says, definitely everybody is gonna be tried, but that's a lesson out of it. That uh, people will be tried not only with their possessions, but in person, disease and whatnot. And then we should be determined, patient, preserve our faith, and tawakkal uh, ala Allah, and our total reliance on Allah. So with that, we'll end Surah Al-Imran, and then just a little bit of just 4 we'll discuss, which is the next surah, which is Surah Nisa. It starts, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Ya ayyuhan nasu ttaqu rabbakumul ladzi khalaqakum min nafsin wahida wa khalaqa minha zawjaha wa bassa minhuma rijalan katsiran wa nisaa wattaqullaha allazi tasaaluna bihi wal arham innallaha kana alaykum raqiba. So this is also one of the ayah we address every khutbah, every Jummah. Um, when we start, this is one of those ayat we recite every time. Here from Imam. Allah says, "O people, fear your Lord, who created you from single soul." So this is the origin of humanity, Adam, and then created it from its made. So again, this is the making of woman from the Adam, as Adam, was in Jannah, and then from this, propagated many men and women throughout uh, the times and the history till now and ongoing. So Allah describes this, especially uh, the making of woman, because that's the surah name, An-Nisa, and also how Allah will raise the level of woman uh, compared to what was it before. Allah continues that we should. So again, Surah Nisa, before we approach it further, is full of rulings, uh, inheritance laws, and many other laws which are part of our Sharia, um, and then few of them we'll highlight. And one of them is taking care of orphans' properties. If you become the caretaker of some you know children whose parents die, that you should take care of their properties and give it to them. So again, Allah describes that importance, and also because this was not being done at the time of Prophet ﷺ, in Arabia, um, and what also was not being done is the bias towards women, the oppression which was present. And Allah mentions that here as well, that you should not oppress, rather you elevate women and marry. And again, here the ruling comes that فَانْكِحُوا مَا طَابَ لَكُم مِّنَ النَّاسِ مَثْنَىٰ وَثُلَاثَ وَرُبَاعَ. Marry women you like, two or three or four. So again, this was a limit given at that time, and it's mentioned in the Quran. And as you know, Sharia allows men to marry up to four. However, Allah repeatedly describes only if you can, uh, only if necessary, and only if you can provide balance. Uh, so again, this ruling came with the background that there was, zina and illegal sexuality was rampant, and so that was one reason. The other, and to protect men from that sin. And the second reason was many men used to die in battle, and women were left alone with kids. So how you provide help to these women in that society? So this was again encouraged that you marry more than one and support that family. So this is a better way. So again, there is a reason why there are rulings in Islam, and then that's not what I'm trying to explain. And we'll go through an ayah later, where how men are being responsible to take care of women in Islam. Allah continues, you know, um, that we should give the woman so that the glories they deserve, uh, and then don't consume it. Uh, they the women are have rights, and as you may be familiar that in Arabian world, women were given no inheritance at all, and Islam brought the status of the woman first time to elevate them to be part of the inheritance, uh, which she would get from her parents. This is the first time this happened. Before that, actually, women were considered the property of men and were given inheritance. So Allah, shares these laws here, going over some inheritance. So again, these are the some ayat which go over the very well defined um, inheritance laws. Yes, there is this Allah mentions لِلرِّجَالِ نَصِيبٌ مِّمَّا تَرَكَ الْوَالِدَيْنِ وَالْأَقْرَبُونَ وَلِلنِّسَاءِ نَصِيبٌ مِّمَّا تَرَكَ الْوَالِدَيْنِ وَالْأَقْرَبُونَ مِمَّا قَلَّ مِنْهُ أَوْ أَكْثَرُ نَصِيبًا مَفْرُوضًا. Men receive a share of what their parents and relatives leave, and women also receive a share of what their parents and relatives leave, be it little or much, a legal share. So these shares are described in detail, and Allah warns again, don't consume the property of the orphans. Um, I was going to say that in Quran there is this inheritance law that a male receives the equivalent of the share of the two females, but there are many other details how female receives more if there is no male child, and this is going back to the concept that the female's share is hers only for her, but male share, with that, as I will share later, the men are responsible for not only their own families, but also that female who got the whole share, whatever is prescribed to her. Because after fathers dies, men are responsible to take care of their sisters, um, if father is not there. So there are reasons behind why such rulings are there. Many Orientalists try to make this uh, a controversial, issue, that look at this, Islam is biased against females. They forget how actually Islam brought much rights at that particular time which were not there for females. And then Islam first time talked about inheritance for females, which was never there before for generations in that area. So again, these are lessons of inheritance. Then Allah talks about other laws, how we should abstain from zina and fahisha. And then, Allah says, if you accuse a woman of lewdness, uh, فَاسْتَشْهِدُوا عَلَيْهِنَّ أَرْبَعَةً مِنْكُمْ. So then we need four witnesses, otherwise don't accuse a chaste woman, because that's considered a huge sin. And then that's, how the legal laws, the Sharia are based upon. Um, Again, as I said, this Surah Nisa is mainly about laws, how we should live uh, and deal in marriage, in inheritance. Ayah 22 and 23, they describe who are the women we cannot marry. Do not marry women who your fathers married, and again details of the category of women which we cannot marry, our daughters, sisters, aunts, maternal aunts, and so on and so forth. So these are prescribed, and very detailed to us, uh, how in a society respect, integrity should continue by avoiding such relationship. Why this ayah came at that time? Because this was happening in Jahiliyyah, the Arab society, the ignorant society it was. Um, so this was happening. So Allah had to prescribe this. Uh, and then again, in many other faiths, this is a common understanding. Many of these principles are universal. There is no ambiguity about it too. Um, there are two or three more ayat I want to discuss in this juz. Um, Again, repetition of don't consume others' wealth illicitly. So again, this is important that we eat halal. Uh, we, uh, we try to possess what is ours and give uh, what is not ours to whom it belongs. Um, but again, this also advises on the business level that لا تأكلوا أموالكم بينكم بالباطل. Don't um, don't earn money to haram way, to illicit way, to illegal way, or to harming other person. Um, Rather, have always an honesty in your businesses. So again, this is how it applies to us. Again, common sense, which Quran is emphasizing because um, many times uh, Muslims or not Muslims, the dealings, the businesses, uh, there's a lie and then the hiding of the truth and dishonesty, and we should avoid this. Allah mentions uh, again in ayah number 31 in تجتنبوا كبائر ما تنهون عنه نكفر نكفر عنكم سيئاتكم وندخلكم مدخلا كريما. So there are certain major sins which Allah describes that we should avoid. The great sins we should not go near, and for doing so, Allah will admit us in the gate of honor, the heavens, and then, as I said, we should interpret these ayahs based on hadith and explanation of scholars. Many tafsir are there, so we should not assume which sins Allah is talking about. So Sahaba asked, and narrated by Abu Huraira radiallahu anhu. Prophet replied. So in interpretation of this ayah, what are these greatest sins? Prophet ﷺ said, avoid the seven greatest destructive sins. And the people asked, O Messenger, what are they? He said, number one, to don't join partners with in worship with Allah. So that's the biggest sin, to commit shirk. Number two, don't practice sorcery. Number three, or magic. Number three, don't kill a person which Allah has forbidden except for a just cause. Again, don't commit murder. If somebody did heinous crime of killing others, deliberate murders, there is a course, and they are have that process should it should go through. Rather, you take up arms and revenge. So Allah prohibits this. And Prophet continues, number four, to eat up riba, the interest. So it's considered one of the greatest sins. And number five, which repeatedly came in this surah, to eat up the property of an orphan whose parents die, and you had to take care of these orphans, but you consumed their property and didn't give it to them the way it should be. And number six, which is related to this surah too. So that's why these applies to this surah. To, 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 to show one's back to the enemy and fleeing from the battlefield, just like these hypocrites did at the time of fighting. And that caused huge harm to the Muslims. So this is considered one of the greatest sins. And lastly, which is also here in this surah, to accuse chaste women who never even think of anything about doing bad, and they are good believers, and you accuse them falsely. So these seven sins are considered the greatest sins, and Allah said, if you avoid them and don't go near them, He'll be forgiving of other minor sins and admit you by a gate of honor. So by a gate of honor, Mudkhala Kariman, this is a special gate in paradise from which you'll enter, inshallah. And lastly, I told you I will talk about an ayah which makes men responsible to take care of the woman, and that's this: "Ar-rijalu qawwamuna 'alan nas, 'alan nisa." "Ar-rijalu qawwamuna 'alan nisa." Men are the protectors and maintainers of women. So again, protectors being they are responsible to provide safety, provide housing, food, clothing, and that's the reason that there is a little higher portion for men in inheritance because they have to do this. And there is nowhere in the Quran uh, it's mentioned that women are responsible. Uh, um, but again, we live in a society which is an open society where women are working, men are working. We go by the what the laws of the countries are too. But I just wanted to share um, these are specific inheritance law and others regarding meher, regarding maintenance of women, divorce, and these are important to follow because these are uh, what Allah says, limits of Allah, hudud Allah, um, that we should at least learn uh, and apply in our lives as much as we can. So with that, inshallah, we'll finish uh, today's juz. May Allah guide us and help us learn these lessons. As I shared earlier, these are past reviews of major ayahs. Please consider this Ramadan as an opportunity to go through details of translation of Quran, and then hopefully these episodes will help you comprehend as well while you are reading the translation. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.